Sister Death, ending explained, and future of the franchise. Nuns clad in their distinctive black clothes have become a primary source of fear and dread in horror films, with titles like The Nun, The Crucifixion, and The Black Coat's Daughter. However, Sister Death uses a more subtle and creeping horror, steadily building tension from beginning to end. The film is about a novice nun with supernatural powers trying to uncover dark mysteries in an all-girls school in Spain. It actually serves as a prequel to the 2017 movie Veronica and dives into the backstory of Sister Death, the school nun of Veronica's all-girls school. Netflix collaborated with the innovative Spanish genre director Paco Plaza to bring us this masterpiece of a movie that feels like a retro companion piece to the original, featuring a straightforward narrative centered on themes of religion and possession. In Sister Death, your fear doesn't stem from the usual suspects like ghosts, spirits, or statues shedding tears of blood. Instead, it's the interconnected backstory that sends shivers down your spine. So in this video, we will explore Sister Death's origin and backstory in addition to exploring the ending, as well as the various curses and mysteries surrounding this amazing film.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
¿Y si solo vi lo que quería ver?
Entiendo.
The Holy Girl. Sister Death is essentially a grim origin story of Sister Narcisa, also known as Sister Death, by the school kids in the sequel film Veronica. From a young age, Narcisa had a special gift that she could see things beyond the ordinary, earning her the title of the Holy Girl. During the Spanish Civil War and the horrors of the Red Terror, Narcisa became the beacon of hope for the faithful. Believed to have a direct link to divine power, it has been reported that the Bolsheviks carried out more than 200,000 murders through their secret police. So during the late 30s, Narcisa was revered as someone close to God, and she even inspired the reopening of several parishes. A decade later, she entered a convent as a novice nun where she was to teach the local girls from poor families. Here, the bullet holes in the walls served as a stark reminder of the dark past. Curiously, Narcisa claimed to have little recollection of her earlier days as the Holy Girl. It seemed like she had distanced herself from that persona, and her visions were no longer as vivid as they once were. Soon after her arrival at the school, she was taken to meet the Mother Superior, who was a bit too excited about meeting the famous Holy Girl. While Narcisa was still waiting for Mother Superior, a mysterious rolling marble caught her attention, suggesting that someone was trying to contact her. The question remained, who could it be? The Rumor and the Curse. After settling in, Narcisa stumbled upon a box containing letters, a picture of Sister Socorro, and a pair of scissors. When she glanced at the picture, her room's chair abruptly crashed to the ground. A loud banging on her door followed, and a hangman stick figure appeared on the wall. These signs were enough to tell the viewers that the house of the Lord was, in fact, cursed. The next day, hushed whispers filled the classroom as Narcisa wrote her name on the board. The young girls believed in the rumor surrounding the same. It turned out that those who wrote their names on the board became targets of a malevolent spirit haunting the school. But there was more to the story than this. Narcisa initially tried to explain things logically, but the eerie incidents made her question the school's supernatural undercurrents. She grappled with vivid nightmares and frequent panic attacks. In one of these nightmares, she ate some sweets, but it turned out that it was eyeballs she had been chewing on. Her concern deepened when one of her students, Rosa, claimed to have encountered a spirit called the Little Girl. Rosa had seen a child's face in the bathtub water accompanied by the same pair of scissors found in Narcisa's room. Furthermore, she also saw hair in the bathtub sink. Of course, this was leading somewhere. Sister Julia dismissed Rosa's account and reprimanded her for sowing fear. Narcisa, however, believed Rosa because as a child, she had shared the ability to see the unseen. Instead of dismissing the girl, she resolved to uncover the reason behind these paranormal events. Rosa, previously silenced by his sister Inez's logical approach, explained that if the spirit wrote someone's name on the board, it marked them as the next target. But the spirit targeted you if you touched her things, spoke to her, or played with her. Sister Inez, who had drawn the last leg of a hangman game, had been haunted by the malevolent spirits and left the school in fear. The following day, Rosa's name appeared on the board and she grew visibly anxious. Narcisa vowed to protect her at all costs and decided to confront the malevolent spirits. Together, they drew the final leg of the hangman game. While Rosa could see the spirit in the room, Narcisa could not. When Narcisa turned to face the spirit, Rosa mysteriously vanished. Julia accused Narcisa of jeopardizing Rosa's safety for her own selfish reasons. In a desperate search for the missing girl, Narcisa was tormented by the hallucinations orchestrated by the dark spirit. She eventually regained her senses only to discover Rosa's lifeless body hanging from the ceiling. The students and nuns grieved Rosa's tragic death, and Narcissa carried the weight of responsibility for failing to protect her. As a solar eclipse casts its shadow, the perfect time for summoning dark spirits, Narcissa left the school with her suitcase in hand. However, something about the eclipse gave her pause, compelling her to gaze directly at the sun. It's likely that she intended self-destruction, but I'm guessing she hoped to offer her vision to peer beyond reality, much like she could as a child. However, something happened in these few moments while she was looking at the sun. At one point, Narcissa was smiling with joy as if she had seen God. The mystery in the third act. The heart of the supernatural occurrences lay in the untold story of Sister Socorro's death. During the solar eclipse, when Narcissa exposed her eyes to the sun's rays, she gained the ability to peer beyond her reality, although she went partially blind. Transported back to the time of the Civil War and looting of the convent, she uncovered a dark secret. Sister Socorro had been assaulted by a marauder, resulting in her pregnancy. Socorro gave birth to the child of her assailant, a girl. Meanwhile, Julia became alarmed as she realized that Narcissa's visions were guiding her to the past. It appeared there were concealed truths that Julia, Sagrario, and Mother Superior were determined to keep hidden. Julia hurriedly returned Narcissa to her room. Narcissa's eyes had turned gray and swollen. She had been awaiting a sign from God, affirming her path of dedicating her life to Christ, and her vision had finally provided that confirmation. Using the picture of Socorro, Narcissa once again found herself transported to the past. This time, she could vividly feel the pain and suffering Socorro had endured. The other nuns at the convent had no sympathy for her plight, viewing her presence as a source of disgrace. As a result, they decided to keep Socorro and her baby girl hidden from the world. Witnessing Socorro's suffering deeply moved Narcissa. In a surreal moment, Socorro's presence merged with reality, and they held onto each other. Through this connection, Narcissa bore witness to the profound injustice Socorro had suffered after her daughter's birth. Julia, Sagrario, and Mother Superior had taken Socorro's daughter away when the child fell ill with a fever. Instead of seeking medical care, they opted to avoid attracting attention to the convent and attempted to lower the child's fever with a cold water bath. The little girl, confused and resisting, banged her head on the bathtub and suffered a fatal injury during the struggle. This revelation clarified the identity of the little girl Rosa had spoken of and explained why supernatural events occurred whenever Narcissa encountered Sister Socorro's picture. Socorro's spirits seemed to haunt novice nuns yet to take their vows, such as Ines and Narcissa, probably in the hopes of persuading them to get justice. You see, at the beginning of the story, it was mentioned that all the nuns who used to previously serve there had refused to return. The only ones who returned were Mother Superior and Sister Julia. However, it could also be seen as her attempt to protect them from the suffering she herself had endured at the convent, though it certainly doesn't justify the harm to children. Ending explained. Pacification through violence. When Socorro learned of her daughter's tragic fate, she took her own life in the very room where Narcissa resided, so this explains why the chair kept falling to the side. Sister Death feels sympathetic towards Socorro's restless spirit, seeking revenge on all those who had wronged her and her child. Her thirst for vengeance drove her to torment souls in search of some semblance of fulfillment. The crux and rationale behind the school's haunting lay in a tragic story of a mother and her daughter. To bring peace, Narcissa realized she had to reunite Socorro with her child. Yeah, she could kinda do that. She unlocked the door, allowing Socorro's spirit to move on, setting off a chain of events that altered the past timeline, leading to chaos in the present. Socorro haunted Julia and ultimately caused her death. Sister Sagrario and Mother Superior experienced similar fates. The deaths of these three nuns were the only means to bring peace, as Narcissa saw it, prioritizing the reunion of mother and daughter over 3 lives. She believed she was fulfilling her divine duty and doing what she deemed right. You see, this was the only way to get justice that Socorro and her daughter deserved. How is it related to Veronica 2017? The movie clarifies how Narcissa lost her sight and how it, in a way, connected her to the spirit world beyond the comprehension of most people. It also explains why the holy girl chose to follow the path of Christ in her pursuit of justice for Socorro and her daughter. Narcissa did not shy away from destruction and violence. Sister Death's ending fast-forwards to a modern classroom where a much older Sister Narcissa meets an all-girls class that includes Spanish actress Sandra Escacina, reprising her role as Veronica from the 2017 film Veronica. which first introduced Sister Narcissa as Sister Death, offering a glimpse of what's to come. Interestingly, in Veronica, Narcissa claims to have blinded herself to avoid seeing the shadows, a motivation not directly evident in Sister Death. In the latter, her loss of sight occurs after she gazes at the eclipse preceding her encounter with Socorro. This variation raises questions about Narcissa's honesty in Veronica regarding her eye condition and its cause. Whether it's the version of events from Sister Death or Veronica that should be considered, her actual backstory doesn't significantly impact the plot of Veronica. However, it is somewhat puzzling that Sister Death chooses to focus on this specific element of Narcissa's backstory established in Veronica and deviates from the established lore. Perhaps future expansions of the universe, if undertaken by Paco Plaza, will provide more clarity on Narcissa's background. Marvelous verdict. Sister Death, Paco Plaza's latest creation, offers a visual treat, especially for those who relish a horror film striking the right balance between a gripping plot and spine-tingling chills. Plaza comprehends that genuine horror resides not in momentary jolts, but in the lasting sense of disquiet that a well-crafted story can evoke. Sister Death pays homage to this principle, making it an essential watch for horror aficionados. While not groundbreaking, the movie delivers an exciting and thoroughly engaging cinematic journey that'll have you hooked. You can very well put your mobile devices aside because there's never a dull moment. From the opening scene to the final credits, the film masterfully propels the story while delving into the characters' intricacies. Be it as the unassuming Narcissa or the stern Sister Julia, you won't encounter the typical jump scares or persistent ghostly apparitions lurking around corners. Instead, it feels like a well-calibrated scarometer that avoids excesses and never leaves you wanting. In a nutshell, it offers a hauntingly splendid experience that strikes a balance between just enough and too much. So if you're seeking a movie that gets your heart racing and keeps your mind engaged, this one strikes that perfect balance. A solid horror flick that lingers in your thoughts long after the credits roll.
If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.